Peace be with you, sisters and brothers. My name is Mary Beth Moore. I'm a Sister of Charity of Halifax, although I'm a New Yorker, not a Nova Scotian. I'm a former coordinator of Pax Christi Long Island. In this 50th year of anniversary for Pax Christi USA, I'd like to offer you a brief history of our region. Until fairly recently, there was no Pax Christi Long Island. People on Long Island who believe in Pax Christi's work counted themselves as part of Pax Christi Metro New York. You should know a couple of things about Long Island. So we're east of New York, and it's the longest, most densely populated island in the contiguous states, 118 miles from New York Harbor to Montauk. And Long Islanders love to speak about our geography. It's one of our little quirks. Its size makes it particularly difficult to organize. Second, it's very conservative. In both suburban counties, Nassau and Suffolk, the Republican Party dominated for most of the 20th century. So the gospel nonviolence of Jesus is not easy to proclaim here. In the mid-70s and early 80s, some peace and justice Catholics were holding Pax Christi style events and inviting national leaders such as Bishop Tom Gumbleton to Long Island. Those early pioneers on Long Island included Father Bill Brazotti, who's still very active, Father Bob Lubrano, Father Bill Schmidt, and former Air Force nurse named Joan Whitrick. Schmidt and Lubrano had known each other at Catholic high school, and Schmidt invited Lubrano to meetings about starting a new Pax Christi region. Father Lubrano served as coordinator of the new region, but when he became ill after spending time in Ethiopia for Catholic relief services, Joan Whitrick took over as the coordinator. And Joan is now deceased. We remember her as one of our friends in the Communion of Saints. By the time of the Gulf War in 1991, Pax Christi Long Island had several groups and parishes, mostly in Suffolk County, the easternmost county on Long Island. Over time, members of those groups became part of Pax Christi Long Island Regional Council. One of the early coordinators was Sister Mary Fritz of the Sisters of St. Joseph, who led PCLI through the 90s. Later leaders included Sister Jean Clark, a Dominican sister, Veronica Fellerath Lowell, I myself, Sister Rosalie Carvin, a Josephite sister, and Agnes Kelly. Our most visible witness in recent years has been the vigil at the annual Memorial Day weekend Jones Beach Air Show. Jones Beach is a fabulous, huge New York State park, all beach, where fighter jets zoom through the sky and military recruiters wait on the boardwalk and the beach, hoping that the excitement of the event will lead young people to enlist. Our view is that Memorial Day is about mourning those lost in previous wars, not about signing up young people for today's wars. Our members also have participated every year in the Good Friday Stations of the Cross in Manhattan, led by Pax Christi Metro. Like Pax Christi regions throughout the country, we have struggled to attract young people to the cause of gospel nonviolence. We have tried a little bit of everything, but sadly, Pax Christi Long Island has grown older, as you can see, not younger. As a result, we find ourselves in something of a transition, figuring out where to go from here with older members we do not have and without the younger members we'd like to have. But in this 50th year of Pax Christi USA, we hope you will keep our region in your prayers, and we will keep the national movement in ours. We are grateful that Pax Christi USA is reviving Bread Not Stones campaign to reduce the military budget and put bread into the mouths of the poor. Our members participated in the earlier campaign in 2000, speaking at masses to explain the importance of the campaign. We hope to spread the message of Bread Not Stones again at this moment, so very, very important still. Grace and peace to all of you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mary Beth. Wow. Oh, I learned so much, and I had forgotten Ronnie Fellerath Lowell's connection to Pax Christi Long Island. So it's nice to hear familiar names and learn new names too. Wonderful. Wow. So why don't you? Oops. Here I am dropping things. So would you share a little bit about how you personally came to Pax Christi USA?
Yes, I remember it very well, and it's really changed my life. Pax Christi is my spirituality, and it's always a challenge. So when 9/11 happened, I was very, very affected. I had been living in Peru just before that in the midst of a terrorist movement. And I felt like, oh, I know a lot about terrorism, but who the heck wants to know more?
Mm.
And so I decided that if I didn't act for peace, I would really be a nervous wreck and useless. It was a very real thing for me. So I joined Pax Christi and I found a home there instantly. I found a way to calm down and to work for peace and to change my own heart and mind to follow the gospel more closely and more profoundly.
Thank you. It's so true. Many of our, in hearing many of our members talk, they talk about the spirituality of nonviolence and how with Pax Christi's commitment to using the model of prayer, study, action, how that is so important and integral to the work that we do. So yes, thank you for that. One of the things you mentioned was how Pax Christi's future, Pax Christi of Long Island, also Pax Christi in general, many religious communities, many communities of faith with lower numbers and perhaps not as many young people. What would be your hope for Pax Christi USA? We're celebrating our 50th anniversary year here. What would be your hope for the next 50 years?
Well, my hope would be that it would be a home for a generation coming up, and that it would, while never, diminishing or weakening our commitment to following the gospel message of Jesus, that it could embrace anyone who wanted to follow that spirituality, regardless of their religion or regardless of how they articulate their spirituality or their history. I think I cherish my Catholic identity, and I know Bob does as well. But it's a moment to be more inclusive, I believe, to be more inclusive and to have the practice of spirituality and peace be the litmus test, so to speak. Shouldn't lose litmus test, but to be welcoming, as Pope Francis has encouraged us. And Jesus said, if they're not against you, they're for you. So we should welcome those people and share the very rich history that they can inherit.